Coming to you from the mountains and the plain. The only conservative voices brave enough to push back. This is the Conservative Daily Podcast with Joe Otto.
That's what the Second Amendment was designed to do. If you're going to do something to nullify or take away my rights under the Constitution, come get it.
Max McGuire.
When you look at politicians on the left, they need to convince people that they are victims.
A resistance to the resistance. And now your hosts, Joe Otto and Max McGuire.
And welcome back to another edition of the Conservative Daily Podcast. My name is Max McGuire.
And this is Joe Otto. And
Joe, who you got sitting next to you, just for anyone listening on audio?
I snuck in.
Yeah, so Tig was in the office, and I said, for those of you who don't know, John Tiegen, he's the one that never seems to be able to follow the rules. Hence the fact I walked back in here, and he was sitting down, and he was like, I'll get on the podcast with you. But disobeyed orders in Benghazi and saved a lot of people, so it was, yeah.
And he's involved with FEC United when it comes to fighting back against lockdowns and making sure that that these tyrannical state and local officials aren't able just to do whatever they want. So we're talking today about the lockdowns, how they're still happening, questioning whether we still need these lockdowns, and talking about what Joe Biden and Kamala Harris would do, make them worse, if they were actually elected. So thought it's a pretty good topic for John to sit in on. So welcome to the show, John.
Yeah, thanks for having me again. Appreciate it.
That's it?
So,
that's all you got?
That's all I got, man.
He's just mad because there's pizza in the office, and he didn't get any.
I know. Pretty messed up.
And Evan, the producer, is actually eating all of his pizza.
He's got the whole box over there.
So I want to start with this clip, and it was from this week, and it is Anthony Fauci. I believe he's on with Jennifer Garner. She's an actress. And why he's doing an interview with Jennifer Garner, I have no idea. But on Instagram, Fauci was asked, when does he think we'll all be able to go to the movie theaters again? And his answer was a lot different than what I expected, which would be maybe once there's a vaccine, maybe once the virus goes away. He had a very specific answer of 1 year after
4th?
A vaccine. Yeah, November 4th. 1 year
4th.
after a vaccine. So let's play that, let everyone listen to it, and then we'll get your comments on the other side. And anyone watching, make sure you hit that share button right now.
Share.
Make sure you like the video.
Facebook
make sure you
loves
comment.
us right now.
We are being throttled because we talked about Kyle a couple weeks ago. So make sure that you hit that share button so we can reach as many people as possible. So let's go ahead and play this clip of Fauci giving his recommendation. Let's go play cut 2.
All right, I'm going to let you go. Dr. Fauci, you must feel like you're on the longest film junket of your life, just answering the same things over and over. Oh my gosh, I can't thank you enough. Can I ask one more just for me?
Sure, of course.
Okay, just for me. When are we going to be able to sit in a theater and watch our favorite performers up on stage again?
Well, that's something I really am craving and would like to do myself, so I'll give you the answer. I think it's going to be a combination of a vaccine that has been around for almost a year and good public health measures. I would think by the time we get to the end of 2021, maybe even the middle of 2021, I mean, if we get a vaccine, Jennifer, that's a knockout vaccine, that's 85, 90% effective. I don't think we'll get that. I'll settle for 70% effective. But if we get a really good vaccine, and just about everybody gets vaccinated, you'll have a degree of immunity in the general community that I think you could walk into a theater without a mask and feel like it's comfortable that you're not going to be at risk.
Oh my gosh. That'll be the day. That'll be the day for all those performers out there and everyone who works.
So
everyone that works so hard. Is that how that ended? I just want to know if that's how it ended.
I cut her off because she went into praising Fauci, praising teachers and everything. We didn't need to. She kind of went on a run on there. Pretty stunning that the entire film industry, according to Anthony Fauci, is going to have to wait until the end of 2021, or he says the middle of 2021, to actually earn any revenue, because that's what the movie theaters do. That's what theaters bring to the movie industry. I mean, we're talking about a lot of jobs on the line, and he just throws that out there a year after a vaccine. No. I mean,
I don't get it. It makes no sense. I mean, I've been traveling around a lot. I mean, I go all over the place. I even went to Sturgis. I was part of the super bug spread that never got the bug. You know, I fly to all kinds of events, do outdoor events, veterans events, and man, so
Nobody's
far
wearing masks.
nobody's wearing masks, and not one person I know has gotten sick. And I'm talking about tens of thousands of people. Well, there's 400,000 in Sturgis, and they're saying half of them spread the freaking virus. But
it's going to cost us $12 billion.
So
Yeah,
let's go ahead, Mr. Producer, put up my screen while Tig keeps talking in case people don't know.
So you got the flu vaccine or the flu shot that's coming out now. That's good. That everybody's gonna be getting. That's supposed to everybody that's gonna come down with the flu that's coming up. It's gonna be all COVID. It's gonna, what they say. Really, only 9,000 people died. Well, it's been a while since I actually looked it up, of the actual COVID. Everybody else had underlying issues. When the flu season hits, anybody with underlying issues, guess what? They take extra precautions. That's just common sense and reality of life. I mean,
and don't be gross and don't lick people. I think that's really it. Wash your hands. Like I've been washing my hands since before it was cool, before people actually said you should wash your hands. And I don't lick people. Well, most people.
So here is that study that John was mentioning. It's an abstract. Let me make sure I cite it correctly so we don't get fact-checked. The IZA Institute of Labor Economics. They put out a white paper claiming that the 500,000 motorcycle enthusiasts who descended on Sturgis, South Dakota this year ended up resulting in 250,000 COVID cases that cost us $12.2 billion in public health costs.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no actual evidence here. When you actually dive into it, I think they had like a couple hundred cases that only a couple cases that they confirmed. I think they only had one confirmed death. But basically what they did is they identified the states and counties that sent the most people to Sturgis. And then in the weeks after Sturgis, they identified the number of COVID cases. And basically they said in those counties that sent people to Sturgis that all of the increase in COVID cases was the result of Sturgis.
Right.
Well, let me guess they're all increased in Democrat-controlled cities too.
Yep. Yeah.
It wasn't the riots.
It wasn't the riots.
I have a anonymous source that does not want to be named that said that it's not 250,000, it's like 500,000.
Yeah, I think it was 500,000.
500,000. Yeah, and it's not 12 billion, it's 1 trillion. I mean,
according to Joe Biden, he'd probably say it's 150 million, just like what he said with gun violence. So you can go ahead and take that off the screen, Mr. Producer. Really stunning, but yeah, I'm glad that you got out of that super spreader event, Tig. I'm glad that you got out alive.
I was only sick for a year afterwards. It was crazy.
I mean, we could just start making stuff up. I think we just should. I mean, this is. By the way, everyone hit share. I mean, it pisses me off that Facebook is doing what they're doing.
Oh, what
they did to you?
Oh, I was hitting almost 1 million on mine. I only got 66,000 followers. I am down to barely hitting 200.
Yeah,
it's insane.
We do have. I mean, we probably should tell Facebook that we do have a lawsuit that we're in the middle of planning, right? I mean, if we have the ability to sue Facebook, we're going to sue Facebook. Why not?
And the same thing, you guys. After
people that sign up to actually,
So one of the Kyle posts that I did made
Kyle, don't say that word.
As long as we don't say what Kyle it is, I think we'll be safe.
All right.
Yeah, you got Jeff Kyle, Chris Kyle, the legend.
There's
a lot of Kyles.
So I did a legend post, and it went over 500,000 within a day, and they deleted it and they throttled me back again. I'm getting like 200 per post now.
They deleted ours weeks after we posted it, and I'm sure that's what they did to you. They basically were applying a definition that anyone who defended this kid, you were defending a mass murderer, even though there's no definition of mass murder that would apply to the situation. They are retroactively punishing anyone who posted about it, even though that determination from them wasn't in place at the time.
Yep.
So it's really, really scummy. So we're not allowed to talk about Kyle anymore.
Yeah.
We're
Well,
not
I mean,
allowed to tell you that his defense is claiming self-defense and claiming that he's part of the unregulated militia. We're not allowed to tell you any of that.
I just saw a post that said it was 150 million bazillion or something. It was a good post. I can't see it anymore.
Yeah, it's
Everyone's actually dead because of Sturgis. I want to put this on because, Mr. Producer, go to my screen again. Joe Biden, a few months ago, promised that if he is elected, he would ask Anthony Fauci to stay on. So I want to add that to the context of what we're talking about today, because we're going to talk about some of the stupid things that Fauci has said and done. And I want to make sure that we understand that, because when Joe Biden promises that he will lock the country down if the medical experts tell him to, which we'll play that clip in a second, he's talking about people like Anthony Fauci. Let's go ahead, Mr. Producer, and play cut 1.
Sworn in come January, and we have coronavirus and the flu combining, which many scientists have said is a real possibility. Would you be prepared to shut this country down again?
I would be prepared to do whatever it takes to save lives, because we cannot get the country moving until we control the virus. That is the fundamental flaw of this administration's thinking to begin with. In order to keep the country running and moving and the economy growing and people employed, you have to fix the virus.
I just threw up in my mouth.
Virus.
So if the scientists say shut it down,
I would shut it down.
So
The science doesn't say shut it down now. This guy's a moron.
Mr. Producer,
These
pull up
people
my
make me
screen.
sick.
Pull up my screen, Mr. Producer, so we can understand the context in which Joe Biden made that claim. That's the curve having been flattened. And Joe Biden is talking about relocking the country down again.
Yeah.
it's all about power and control.
Now, keep in mind that if you look at the far left of that graph, it's per 100,000, right?
Yeah.
So look at the I mean, it's 9 per 100,000. It's 5 per 100,000 for over 65. Look, I think that there's natural precautions that we can take holistically as a society in order to keep people safe. There are some things that they can do as far as making sure that you are taking vitamin D, or you're exposed to vitamin D, which is basically sunlight, that you're taking zinc. What are you talking about?
Careful, we're not allowed to talk about vitamin D.
Why are we not allowed to talk about vitamin D?
Oh wait, actually, we are allowed to talk about vitamin D. Let's put up image 4, because Fauci changed his mind. Mr. Producer,
Thank you,
let's
Mr.
put up image
Fauci.
4. So, Mr. Fauci this week admitted that he takes vitamin D and vitamin C supplements, and that they can help keep your immune system strong. This is from Cernovich. I like him. He put on Twitter, Facebook was banning people who claimed that vitamin D could help fight coronavirus. Now, Anthony Fauci admits that he's taking vitamin D to help keep him healthy. So actually, I guess because Fauci admitted it, now we're allowed to talk about vitamin D. And you can go ahead and take it off the screen, Mr. Producer. So I guess it's fair game because Fauci talked about it now, that vitamin D is helpful.
And so is this little pill right here. It's not blue, so I'm good. It's a little white pill.
Don't say it. Don't say what it's called.
Why? I can't tell you what it is.
Because Fauci didn't say you can.
I hate it.
Oh, you took it. Fauci is
It's
so pissed.
hydroxy.
No.
That was good. You know what that is? Can I tell you what it was?
You're not
I don't
allowed
have
to
to tell
say
you.
the name unless a pharmaceutical industry stands to make a lot of money from it.
I
Anything
don't-
generic or over the counter, we can't talk about.
It is over the
Conveniently.
counter, and it's called zinc. I took a zinc.
Oh, and just for the fact checkers, Joe just took an actual pill form of zinc. He didn't actually just swallow raw minerals. I don't want anyone to think that they can go in their backyard and find a mineral deposit and eat it, because Facebook will accuse us of that. He just took an actual supplement.
Yeah, I did take a supplement. And I take supplements for vitamin D, vitamin A, vitamin B. I take lots of different supplements, and I have gotten sick, but I've also never had the flu shot. Right? Never gotten the flu shot.
Yeah, I don't really get it very often either.
Yeah.
If I ever remember.
Every time I've gotten it, I've gotten the flu.
Yeah.
Conveniently.
But that's not saying that you shouldn't get a flu shot. We should also, we almost feel like every 5 minutes we're going to say something and then say, but we think you need to do what is good for you.
We're not doctors.
Yeah, that's what
I'm
it is.
just
Do
saying
it.
anecdotally. I always get the flu whenever I get a flu
Well,
shot.
same with the COVID. You should be able to decide and choose what the heck you want to do. If I want to take the flu shot, I'll take it. If I want to take vitamin D, I'll take it. I sure as heck going to take this vaccine for freaking Fauci COVID.
No.
Because, I don't.
So would it be interesting to actually have a blind study that's not blind where we get, 500, 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 people together, and those 5,000 people say, I'm not going to take the vaccine, and we follow those 5,000 people to see how healthy they are or are not? Because that they're not doing that right now, right? They're not going to follow around people that don't get the vaccine. They're going to try and do a forced vaccine. I'm not taking the vaccine. Now, whether or not you're out there and you want to take the vaccine, you're welcome to, but I'm not taking it.
So I'm wondering if they're going to make it to where, like, they're saying you have to have an ID to where if you want to travel, like air travel and stuff, because they can control that. That's the thing. You're going to have to, if you want to fly on a plane, you might have to go take the vaccine. And I think that's going to, that's really going to shut this country down, because a lot of people are like me and Joe. I'm not going to take it. And
no,
I guess I won't be going to the East Coast anymore for anything. Whatever.
Well, I don't think we'll actually even be eligible to take it, because if you actually listen to what they're saying now, they're not talking about people like us being able to get it. They're actually talking about rationing it and giving it to the highest risk people first.
Great.
And then the rest of us. So this is a good segue. Let Mr. Producer put up my screen again. On Thursday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern, September 17th, we're going to be talking with Andrew Wakefield, the doctor who was one of the authors on the Lancet study connecting or suggesting that there might be a connection between the MMR vaccine and autism. He's going to be on our podcast 10:30 a.m. Eastern on Thursday, September 17th, different time. So make sure you tune in. We'll be live streaming it on Facebook and YouTube, and the audio will be available immediately after. That's 10:30 a.m. Eastern, Thursday, September 17th. Okay, we can take that. I just wanted to throw that as a nice little segue.
And let's talk to the people above about, I don't know, Max, did you put it in here on the text alert? Because I think we're going to start doing that every day as well, right?
So we do have in our description, in the description for the videos, a way for you to join our email newsletter, and that includes a way for you to provide your mobile number, your cell phone number, so that we can send out text alerts when things are important going on. So make sure, if you haven't already, sign up, the link in the description, and sign up for our email newsletter and our text alerts.
But how bad is it that we're having a conversation about censorship, and that basically they've weaponized technology, and we have to do all of these different things in order to get the message out there? I mean, how is that possible? That we have to actually join forces with other organizations to sue Facebook and to sue platforms for basically promoting an ideology, to indoctrinate people and saying, hey, we're not going to talk about truth. Nothing we've ever said is untrue. Nothing. I mean, we've never actually gotten in trouble for saying things untrue. We just get in trouble because it's not popular.
The way they get you is when things change, right?
Yeah.
If Fauci says months ago that no one needs to wear a mask, and then he changes his mind and says everyone needs to wear a mask, that's not a lie. That's not fake news. He just changed his mind.
Right.
If we were to do the same in reverse, we would have been hit with fake news twice, because only Dr. Anthony Fauci is allowed to change his mind.
Right.
We're not allowed to change our mind. We're not allowed to change anything. We just have to literally just post whatever they tell us to post.
Which by itself should be, I mean, I don't know.
Pretty much, I mean, right now, back in the day, that's why we had the separation of church and state, so the church really couldn't control what the state does. But now you have the medical field controlling exactly what the state does.
And yeah.
It shouldn't be that way. They should just give out guidelines, and that's it. It's like, we believe if you wear a mask, this is what happens. We believe if you don't wear a mask, this is what happens. Give us the freaking choice. Give the businesses a choice if they want to enforce the mask on their customers or not.
Which is interesting, because one of the things we're going to talk about today is going to be the lockdown and the unconstitutional. There was a federal judge that actually ruled that it was unconstitutional for violation of the First and 14th Amendment for them to have the lockdown. Now, I think that you can actually. I want to know where the national what is it called? Injunction is that actually helps. Free up all these other states. And I want to know if this actually applies to the mask mandate as well. I mean, forcing someone to put a muzzle on their face. I mean, is that something they can actually do?
So let's talk about that. Let's put up image 1 for anyone who doesn't know what we're talking about. There was a federal judge that basically ruled that Pennsylvania's lockdown is unconstitutional. And this is an article I wanted to show that how the media is reporting it, that Trump is seizing on the judge's ruling. So let's switch right now to image 2. Image 2. This is actually the end of the order,
conclusion.
And I want to read it briefly. This court closes this opinion by by recognizing that defendants' actions at issue here were undertaken with the good intention of addressing a public health emergency. I disagree with that. But even in an emergency, the authority of government is not unfettered. The liberties protected by the Constitution are not fair weather freedoms, in place when times are good, but able to be cast aside in times of trouble. There is no question that this country has faced and will face emergencies of every sort, but the solution to a national crisis can never be permitted to supersede the commitment to individual liberty that stands as the foundation of the American experiment. The Constitution cannot accept the concept of a new normal, where the basic liberties of the people can be subordinated to open-ended emergency mitigation measures. Rather, the Constitution sets certain lines that may not be crossed, even in an emergency. Actions taken by defendants cross those lines. It is the duty of the court to declare those actions unconstitutional. Thus, consistent with the reasons set forth above, the court will enter judgment in favor of the plaintiffs.
Boom.
Excellently written, and I have to say that the Pennsylvania state government is appealing this, and they're asking for a stay. Now, basically, they're saying we want to appeal this ruling, but we also want the judge who just issued it, who just basically said you violated all these people's rights. The state wants him to basically give a stay on his own order so that they can have time to appeal, which basically would mean he would say, yes, you're violating people's rights, but I'm going to let you keep violating their rights to give you time to mount an appeal. It's a very crazy thing, but they'll probably get it. That's how weird the judiciary is. But I just wanted to share that text because I thought that was very well written, and it's obvious to anyone who's paying attention.
Well, it's not so obvious because the people in leadership just, again, they want to ignore the Constitution. They want to ignore the rights of people, and they want to force on what they want. They want people to not worship God, right? Keep people out of churches. They want to indoctrinate kids in school. They're recruiting people to the LGBTQ environment. They're recruiting them. They're telling kids in second and third grade.
LGBTQP.
Whatever.
I had the P for pedophile to the end.
They hate
that. When you start adding other letters to the end.
But the point is that in the absence of taking, and I talked about this yesterday, in the absence of taking God out of schools, taking God out of our communities, taking down statues, stopping you from being able to talk about God, the only voice that is there is one that doesn't make any sense. It's one that it has no logic behind it. And literally the world's been turned upside down. What was good is bad, what's bad is good. It literally is, that's what's happened, right? Yeah. And we're allowing them to, Candace Owens said that we have lost the war in education, that the indoctrination in education is actually pushing kids to be illogical. It's pushing kids not to have any sort of substantive value to be able to, or ability to assess a situation logically. And if that's true, then, that's why we face with this. This is a 20-year-old problem. I mean, we're not dealing with a problem that started today. This is something that started 30, 40, 50 years ago. So I actually think that we have to start getting back to, it's going to take a massive push. It's going to take years. It's going to take years. We have to start looking and having a 20-year plan to reverse what these wacko, loony leftists have actually done. It's crazy.
Did you see?
There's a reporter in Colorado Springs, by the way, a reporter that tried to do a doxing deal on us. She is a he, and in going through doing our own investigation of this person, we found out massive criminal, right?
Oh, nice.
And I go through it, and I'm like, all right, I'll wait. We'll sit on this information for a little bit. But these are the type of things they do. They go and they have just a dicey past. Then they want to basically ridicule people. And you go and just do just a little bit of research and scratch below the surface, and you find some really unsavory, just disgusting individuals. And these are the people, by the way, that are heading up these movements, right? It wasn't a mistake that. Okay, go ahead.
No, well, I want to let you keep going, Mr. Producer. Put on my screen. We talked about this before. DC's public schools will not allow in-person learning to continue until November 6th, which was the Monday after the election. Right. So they're not even pretending anymore.
Right.
They are not letting kids go back to school until after the election. That is the first Monday after the election. And
weaponized
you mentioned
media.
Education.
Yeah.
You mentioned that we're losing the fight in education. This is from the Washington Examiner. Philadelphia public school teacher worries about conservative parents listening in on virtual classes. Teachers are terrified of this. They're terrified that now that these classes are virtual, that the parents actually get a firsthand availability to listen in on what they're doing with the indoctrination. So that might actually be a silver lining in all of this.
Yeah, I mean that doesn't wake parents up. I mean they're actually making them sign a contract saying you will not listen on what your kids are learning. What? You should be able to know everything your kid's learning. I mean it shouldn't be it shouldn't be a secret. I mean you should have the curriculum through the whole entire school year of every subject and every everything they're going to be going through. You know, it's again because they've been indoctrinating kids and not educating them. And now if people need to wake up and they need to see it. They need to actually start paying attention. And
one more time, Mr. Producer, go to my screen. This was last week. Edgewater School called police after sixth grader had a Nerf gun behind him during Zoom class. The teacher admitted that she knew it wasn't a real gun, but she called the police on the kid anyway. So not only do they not want the parents to listen in on what the teachers are teaching their kids, but they're also trying to enforce all of the school's codes, right? You can't bring a Nerf gun to school. They're also trying to say you can't have a Nerf gun, I guess, in your room or in your home whenever you're learning remotely. Very, very strange. But the teacher admitted that she knew it was a Nerf gun, but called the police anyway. That's how scummy this is getting.
I wonder what would happen if I pulled my gun out right now and put it on the screen. Like, what would that? Would we get in trouble for it? I got mine. You got yours. I got mine. Yeah. I mean, Max, you got yours?
Hey! Do you want a pair of gun size? He's gonna get it.
Max going to get his. I got mine.
All
right. You show me yours first.
I gotta wipe it off.
Are we allowed to do this?
Why not?
I don't know.
That's just mine.
This is my little one. You got a little one? I got a little one.
You got a little
one.
Yeah.
We're actually not pointing these at each other, by the way, so just so we're clear.
I know I'm messing up. I should be totally pointing at him.
Yeah. I kind of like yours. Mine's nicer.
Mine's a good stick, though.
Where's Max at? Did he just go get one? He did. Max should go get a gun. He did. He had to. Yeah. We just showed ours. See? Here we go.
Make sure I'm not going to shoot myself.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Are we allowed to do this on Facebook? Think you get mad at us? Look at you.
Mine might be a little cooler.
Whoa! He just pointed the gun at us. Did you see that? He just
just pointed a gun at us. What is wrong with you? Yeah. See, mine's bigger than his. See, it covers more bullets too.
Yeah. This is a Tanfolio clone of a CC-75 that the Israeli police used.
Yeah.
All right. Now that we've all had our little gun competition.
Hey, in the comments, I want to see people actually post their pictures too.
No, because the ATF will get you.
Oh, will they? All right, don't do that. Never mind.
I don't own any guns. I borrowed this from Polis. I think every freaking parent just knowing about that. Every parent should have a real gun or any kind of gun, picture, whatever, behind their kid while they're in class.
Every one of them.
Yeah.
It's a constitutional right. You cannot control what somebody can do inside their own home.
Yeah.
Every single one should just be sitting back there cleaning their ARs
while their kids. Yep.
Yeah. Just basic maintenance, guys. I was cleaning this one. I was gonna show this one, but I thought this would be very embarrassing.
No, I remember when you got that, man.
Hey, is that the Wisconsin the couple from Wisconsin? Is that their gun?
No, it's not that bad. But I got that for like $50 a couple years ago. So I didn't want to show that one. Okay, we gotta get back into talking about the lockdowns.
But hey, why do we carry guns? We carry guns, one, because we get these death threats pretty consistently, right? Say, hey, look, we're coming for you. Yeah, it's all the love. We love it.
Yeah, you shouldn't be afraid to be able to say, hey, check this out. I mean, you should be it's ridiculous, man. It's been so demonized to even be a patriot, to defend and protect. But you got the left that are actually attacking 12-year-old kids for wearing Trump hats, attacking 7-year-olds for supporting the president. I mean, it's out of control, man. They want to sit there and say that Trump preaches hate, he does this. The left has, I mean, if you truly get down to the rhetoric of who's truly pushing the aggression, I don't want to say hate, but the aggression on the opposite side, it is the Democrats. It's the socialists. They're really pushing that hatred. I mean, they are dividing this country. I mean, they're pushing the hate on cops, saying defund the police. I mean, I got no problem going against the cops either, especially with the COVID lockdown stuff. I mean, it's unconstitutional for the things that they were doing. I mean, arresting parents because they're in parks. I mean, why aren't you arresting the homeless that are hanging out in parks? It's ridiculous shutting down restaurants using the health what do they call them for restaurants?
Oh, they're weaponizing the health department.
Health
Yeah,
safety.
the health department.
Yeah.
I mean, see,
Yeah.
it's ridiculous.
The health
man.
department's supposed to be there just to check whether or not you have rats or whether or not you're cleaning your kitchen enough. But they're trying to say that the health department is now going to force businesses to close whenever there's a respiratory virus. I mean, it's crazy stuff.
But they got
Our system was never designed for this.
But they got the plexiglass to protect you now.
Have you seen those
Yeah,
stupid
it's gonna protect-
commercials?
I'm gonna lick it next time I walk in there.
Have you seen those stupid commercials for the face shields?
No.
Let me see if I can,
I've
if I
actually
can
seen them
find
on
it.
the planes. People are actually wearing face shields on the planes.
I was on a plane. I was in D.C. last week. But we haven't talked about that yet. But
I was wondering if they're going to do surgery on somebody or something first. I was like, I don't get what they're doing.
So let's go ahead and, Mr. Producer, go back to my screen. This is what infomercials are now selling.
Yeah.
These things. I mean, don't buy one of these things, people. You can go to Home Depot and you can create this for like $3 Just
Or you can just
if
say-
you
Or you can
really
just
feel
not
you
wear
want
it.
that,
Yeah.
Or you can
or you
just
can
not
not wear
wear
it. But
it. Just
if you really feel you need that, the fact that they sell these things for $19.99
Evan
is
wants
highway
one.
robbery. Yeah, Evan could rock one of those.
Yeah, I think they're $5 in the paint department at Home Depot.
Yeah. Go ahead. We can take that off the screen now. So let me play a couple more of these cuts because I want to highlight just how radical this has become. This is Mayor Bill de Blasio saying that outdoor dining requirements are going to continue into next summer. Let's go ahead and play cut 5.
I want to give you more good news. The Open Restaurants Initiative, the Open Streets program has been amazing. So we're going to be doing this again next year. Look at what we have been able to achieve together to improvise something amazing. These restaurants will be back again next year on the street, as we've seen tremendous success starting June 1st next year. And I wanted to say it now because I want people in communities to look forward and see that we're going to keep coming back strong. I want the folks who own the restaurants
Guy
to
is a
know that they're
moron.
going to have that additional revenue going forward. The folks who work in the restaurants to know that whatever else we have to weather, we have seen that this experiment worked.
So don't they know winter's coming?
Yeah, I mean that's the crazy thing about this. That they said that the street eating is gonna reopen next summer, but if they keep they haven't said actually when they're gonna reopen in restaurant dining yet.
That's what I'm saying.
So
Winter's coming. There ain't gonna be no restaurants to open up because they're all going to be completely closed down.
Yeah. Anyone who's ever experienced New York City streets on the winter, you cannot eat a fine meal on those streets. You just can't. There's people pissing on the street. There's homeless people, garbage, snow, really disgusting slush. You can't eat on a sidewalk.
Well,
in
now
New York.
now you're being attacked while you're at a restaurant. So
Yeah.
technically, I mean, you're more dangerous to eat outside now because BLM and Antifa, they're coming around attacking people that are just trying to enjoy their evening.
Yeah, that I forget what city that happened, but the restaurant owner actually sided with the attackers and said that their cause is just and that they caused minimal monetary damage, so they weren't going to get mad at them. I mean,
Okay.
it might be a smart move because they didn't burn down their restaurant in retaliation.
Not this time.
Yeah.
So Richard Carmichael says, "This is my gun. This is my rifle. This is for fight." Okay, Richard, I'm not reading that. You got me.
That was the Full Metal Jacket moment right there.
Yeah.
This is my rifle.
This is my rifle. This is
my
for guns.
gun.
This is for fighting. This is for fun. Yeah.
Yeah, almost
Yeah.
got me. So yeah.
Yeah. He went on Facebook to tell us to read YouTube.
I had to go reach YouTube. I was
Yeah.
going back on the comments.
So let me play this clip because this. Have you guys looked at what's happening in Australia? The lockdowns that they're imposing in Australia. That you can't leave
unbelievable.
your home in between the hours of like 8 p.m. and 5 a.m. Only one person's allowed to shop a day. You're allowed to exercise outside for 1 hour per day. Other than that, you can't drive more than, I think it's like 25 kilometers, maybe 15, 25 kilometers. They have a distance of how far you're allowed to drive. And if the only reason you'd be able to go beyond that is if your significant other lives beyond that, or if your work is beyond that 25 kilometers. Other than that, everyone's locked down. I want to play this clip because this is a news personality in Australia basically going off on the lockdowns and how they're not even proven to help anyone. Let's play cut 6.
We've had leaders here in the country who've done nothing but ignite fear and alarmism and anxiety. Still not one has sought to comfort innocent and trusting Australians with the news that 99% of the cases are mild and only 1% are serious or critical. In fact, as I speak to you today, in the last 24 hours, no new cases in the ACT, 5 in New South Wales, none in the Northern Territory, none in Queensland, 1 in South Australia, none in Tasmania, none in WA. Victoria excluded, there are 11 people in hospital and 7 in intensive care. And the economy's being smashed.
Do you know how many
Now the
people are
pandemic
in Colorado or
trying to
in?
tell us that, you'll have a vaccine
with
by
COVID?
mid-2021.
I thought it was 200.
Live in hope.
No.
When the medicine
2.
we've been
2?
dished out is nothing but fear, and people have had their freedoms crushed, their very spirits destroyed,
I was using Common Core
lockdowns
math.
imposed with no
I was using
evidence
Common Core
presented
math.
that they were.
Oh, you're
Blunder on,
1 +
lecturing
1 is
people.
500.
And instead of reading out these meaningless statistics every day to frighten everybody, why not tell the public that worldwide there are 700,000 deaths from coronavirus, but there are 60 million deaths in the world every year. 60 million. Why do we have to have this daily recitation of cases? Is there any other disease for which this happens? Cancer? So far this year, there have been 5.1 million deaths from cancer. We don't get daily updates. This is nothing more than a political stunt to justify taking away our liberties and our freedoms, locking the joint down, making sure we obey. Oh, and if you don't cop, you'll cop the punishment. Grab power over everybody, which they most probably don't intend to surrender. Why not tell the Australians that 440 people die in Australia every day? In 6 months, we've had 420 deaths from coronavirus. But if you're going to throw numbers at us, tell us each day how many Australians have been made jobless by your government's decisions. How many businesses have been forced into bankruptcy? How many mortgages can't be paid?
So we can cut off there. It's stunning. And Joe, you asked about the Colorado. We can go ahead and put up my screen again, Mr. Producer. So this is the latest graphic that they put out on social media, which was 141 hospitalized with COVID, 85 under investigation. But then they also have this little window where they say that there's been... I hate when they say that we have 61,000 cases, because that actually isn't real. Notice how on that list, they don't include how many people have recovered. I hate that about the way they report this, because you always hear we have X number of cases, we have X number of cases. Well, notice that number never goes down, because they're not taking out the people who've recovered. They're taking cumulative case numbers and applying them to an individual moment in time, and saying that everyone who's ever had the coronavirus is the number of cases we have right now, even though, as you heard from that fine Australian gentleman, that most of them are mild cases. So these are Colorado's numbers. They reported 307 cases the last day this was reported, 6 new hospitalizations.
That's just not true.
Really,
that's not true.
That's
absolutely
that's the
not
numbers
true.
they're putting out.
It's not true. It's not true. And I don't have an anonymous source. I have people that are actually on the ground in hospitals that are gathering information. That is all garbage, right? Or maybe it's just cumulative. Or maybe they just used Common Core math like you just used.
And maybe it's a couple of... Maybe there's 4 dogs at it, or maybe a cat.
Yeah, no, rat.
Something. Well,
So, go ahead.
No, I was just going back. I mean, just back to Australia, how they're fighting with their issues, you know. And then what was it? I think it was about this time last year. Didn't they have the whole climate change too? The world was changing, and they found out it was like 230 people actually going around the country setting the fires. And all of a sudden now we're in the same time frame now, and then we're going through our own climate change of Antifa going around setting fires.
We're not allowed to say it. We're not allowed to say that.
Yeah, they've already caught them. They've already
that.
taken pictures. Yeah, I think they've arrested 3 people in Oregon already. So again, I mean, and it's really awesome how climate change stops at the border.
But they also said it wasn't true. They had people in the media saying that arsonists aren't setting fires. They are setting fires.
Yeah, they're being caught.
Yeah,
they're actually. I think one of them actually had the pictures of the fireworks they were using to set the fire.
Well, and you had a guy with a Molotov cocktail that was arrested in the morning, goes back out there, goes to the same place, starts lighting more fires.
Yeah.
You see that one?
They let him
Oregon.
go.
They let him out. They let him out.
Yeah.
And he's
Why
back
did you
on
let
it.
him out? Man, I tell you what, if I lived in that neighborhood, I would literally get all my neighbors, I would say let them out again, and I would drag them behind a truck. I mean, they're destroying entire millions of acres of land.
Yeah.
These anarchists are destroying things.
So let's go ahead and put my screen up. Put my screen up while we keep talking.
Too. Yeah, they've had 30 people so far have been killed in these fires.
Yeah.
So we put this out. We made this, the original meme. Twilight Zone. Imagine, if you will, a climate so rapidly changing and so despicably conniving, it only punishes certain countries with wildfires. And that is straight from NASA's surveillance satellite. And you can see there's a couple little brush fires in Canada, but the major wildfires literally are stopping at the U.S.-Canada border.
100%.
Well, and also, I mean, the problem with California, they wouldn't let people go in and clear the underbrush. They wouldn't let people go and get the timber. That's the other thing. I mean, this, again, the Democrat common sense is let everything decay and let it engulf itself. And that's what it's doing.
Let nature take its toll.
And it's taking it. I mean, it is destroying everything out there. And they want to say it's climate change. No, it's the Democrat change.
Well, wildfires are nature's way of doing what they won't let man do, which is clear forest, right? Clear out that underbrush. That's part of the circle of life. So when you hear a leftist say that we need to let nature operate without man intervening, wildfires are part of that equation. It's unfortunate, but it is.
But when they don't get the wildfires that they want and the destruction they want, they just go out and set it themselves.
And they call it climate change.
Yeah. See, it must be climate change. These people are sick.
Well, the climate out in California is changing.
Can I show you? I don't know if I can actually send this picture to you. Max, Google the fact that they
send me any link. Send me any link to an image.
They had vegans that put... And if you're a vegan listening,
that's funny.
If you're a vegan listening, we're just going through how stupid Democrats are, right? Pedophiles, rapists, closet racists. There's a small sliver. The walkaway movement is actually giving them a way out, right? Democrats are leaving in droves because they're pissed off. But a vegan put roses on the meat in grocery stores.
Oh man!
Let me see if I can find this for you, Max.
You think it's a Saturday Night Live skit or something, you know?
Yeah. All right, here it is. Ready? Here, I'm going to see if I can send it to you. Oh, this is... No, thanks. I'm not going to...
Send it to me over Facebook.
Come on, where's the... It had
Can you
a
find
video of it. Oh.
So, Mr. Producer, put on my screen again. We're talking about how few cases Colorado is actually seeing. The health department in Colorado, in that county, is actually suing Bandimere Speedway because they had a peaceful protest.
Right.
So they're suing. And then we also have news from the lawsuit from restaurants fighting against the lockdowns that they had to stop their lawsuit challenging the last call order, which is the idea that you can't serve alcohol in a Colorado tavern after, 11 p.m. or 10 p.m.?
It was 10.
Because once you cross into that next hour, coronavirus becomes very deadly. So stupid rules like that. Arbitrary, very arbitrary stuff.
But look what
They're
they
forced
did.
To give up their lawsuit.
They literally... made justice too expensive.
Oh no. I clicked an ad.
Yeah, please don't click it.
So pretty much what they're saying is COVID is technically Dracula.
Yeah, it's 11 p.m. Apparently there's a COVID witching hour, and nothing good happens after 11 p.m. in a tavern, which might be a real rule, but certainly has nothing to do with like the study of pathogens. But that's what we're dealing with. Like they do nothing to stop Black Lives Matter and Antifa from having their little gatherings after 11 p.m. But if you want to sit and have a beer, if you work a late shift and you get off and you want to have a beer, they're stopping you from doing that. You cannot go to a tavern and have a beer after a bar after 11 p.m. because it's too dangerous. You just can't risk it. Too dangerous.
I can't find this deal. I saw it this morning. They were literally setting roses. Let me see if I can find the video.
Yeah, I saw that video. Yeah, it was like...
Wasn't it crazy?
It was freaking funny, man. Literally on packaged meat, just laying roses down and pretty much crying over packaged meat.
So, Mr. Producer, our producer stand-in, Evan, just sent it. Go ahead, go to my screen, Evan. So this is from an older... story. Apparently they do this all the time. Vegan animal rights activists barricaded a supermarket meat aisle and laid memorial flowers on dead turkeys.
Yeah, it wasn't this one.
Apparently what they do.
Yeah. It looked like it was at a Walmart or something.
That makes sense.
It does.
And I say that as someone who shops at Walmart because it's the closest grocery store to my house, but it still makes sense.
Do you take a video camera when you go to Walmart?
Me? No, you're not allowed to. You're not allowed to video inside.
You can't video people? Really?
No, there's a whole website called People of Walmart that takes pictures of the strange people that walk around Walmart. But you're not allowed to video inside of Walmart. They'll kick you out if they see you recording.
That's really not fair. Because that's the
So
most fun, actually.
So in Michigan, let's put up image 5. Michigan, there's actually a citizen effort to stop the lockdown. A Michigan group has now gathered enough signatures to overrule the governor. This is really interesting. So the way it typically works is the governor has the emergency powers. The legislature can overrule them, but then the governor has veto. So you need a veto-proof majority typically in a legislature to get past a governor's veto pen. But in Michigan, they have a provision that if you get enough signatures, the legislature can actually pass legislation that cannot be vetoed. It's an excellent idea. I think every state should have this because
Joe.
They tried to stop the lockdown.
I'm for it.
I say we just run them all out, right?
I'm about that. Yeah.
I mean,
it's ridiculous, man. I mean,
every state is facing the same sort of tyranny, like just oppression of people. And the taxes, by the way, are absurd. Imagine how many taxes you pay, right? 30% of your paycheck goes to the government. Property tax, right? Gas tax. You have to pay tolls on the highway. I mean, people in Denver, did you know this? You have to pay $7.50 as an employee for the privilege of working in Denver.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
No, I'm smart enough. I'm smart enough not to live in Denver or work in Denver.
We're working Denver. We weren't that smart. We moved out of Denver for that reason.
So let's go ahead and put up image 6. This is a new story just breaking today. So Trump had a rally in Nevada, and the venue that held the rally is now being fined $3,000 because they didn't enforce mask wearing and they didn't force the people in their venue to socially distance. Because Trump had more than 50 people at his rally, that venue is now being fined all this money. But if you were BLM protests, you could meet and
you
do
whatever
no
you
problem.
want. Yeah, inside. And matter of fact, they would give you twice the occupancy. No problem. Just everybody come in.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Trump will probably pay for him.
I think he will too. Actually, I think they
he can
just
pay.
started GoFundMe. What's interesting is that we've been, obviously we're a technology company, so we have a technology company and we do a lot of technology, but and build a lot of technology. But we've been exploring all these different technologies and trying to solve problems. They say if you can build to solve a problem, then that will have a high degree of success if there's a problem. So the problem today is the weaponization of technologies, the weaponization of the media, is the weaponization of platforms. So we've been having a lot of fun with building out all these different things, these technologies. And then one of the things, Max, you said on a call that we had the other day is, hey, can we just build something that actually competes against GoFundMe? Since GoFundMe literally gets to decide who the winners and losers are, and they get to deplatform people, why can't we build that? And by the way, we're building it. I mean, that's what we're doing. We're adding another technology to what we do, and we're building out that technology now. And frankly, our goal as an organization collectively has always been to find ways to have truth be able to be stated, right? To have this freedom of speech, to have this freedom to actually have thought, right? Not have to be propagated by some ideology that we have to believe in, right? So I thought it's interesting because, GoFundMe, if they put up something to actually collect that $3,000 fine that they got, I would almost bet you that GoFundMe would.
Oh yeah, no, they will. I mean, if you're Jacob Blake, you can raise money, but you can't raise money for that.
Yeah, you can't raise money for the Legend because they shut it down so freaking fast. I know people are asking, how do you go and support the Legend? Well, the lawyer, I think they started a GoFundMe for his fees and stuff like that. So
yeah,
go directly.
We
to the
can't
Legend.
we can't tell you how to do that, but there are ways, and it's not hard to find it.
So it's it's being demonized to defend and protect yourselves against a rapist, a pedophile, and a felon.
Well, they're saying he wasn't a felon. They're saying that it was a misdemeanor charge that previously. So I looked at it and I assumed it was a felony because it was illegal possession of a firearm while under the influence of some substance, right? I assumed that was a felony. Apparently, he had either been charged as a misdemeanor or pled down, so he wasn't actually a felon in possession. But he probably plea bargained because those kinds of things are typically felonies. So even if that wasn't a crime, it still was a crime to run at someone pointing a Glock at them. To pretend to give up, and then when he turns away, you draw it back at him. I mean, you can't do that in the military. That'd be a war crime to make an illegal surrender like that. But obviously he's not in the military, but it's a really scummy thing to do. I want to talk about this. So there's a church in California. Let's put up image 7. It's called Grace Community Church. And they actually won a court case. No, sorry, the other one, image 7. That was you ruined the punchline. It's okay. Well, anyone listening on audio wouldn't see it. So a Los Angeles County church, Grace Community Church, has won a legal fight to be allowed to hold indoor services. California and Los Angeles weren't going to let them hold indoor services. So what did the city and the local government do? Let's go ahead and put up image 8 now. The church says that the Los Angeles County is trying to take away their parking lot in retaliation for them winning the case. So basically, the church leases the parking lot from the county, and they've leased it from them for years. It's an open-ended lease, right? It's just a parking lot the church leases so that on Sundays and other days where they have services, their attendees can park there. After that court case went down on the side of the church, LA County decided to cancel their contract, their lease for the parking lot. I mean, that's how corrupt these people are. That's how consumed by these emergency powers they are. They actually think stuff like this is okay.
You know, I'm trying to do the math right now. I'm not going to use Common Core math. I'm going to use real math, right? So here's the math. The math is pretty simple. You make it very difficult or impossible to get justice, right? So make it almost too expensive that people just feel like they're helpless. Like I can spend $50,000 here in order to pay an attorney to actually seek justice, or I can just accept it as it is. Then you have technology companies that come in and basically oppress people and say the only message you can hear is this indoctrination. Then you have organizations, if you do actually go through and win, that they find other ways to weaponize government against those people or those organizations. So it really is a place where they can't win, right? Nobody can win. You can't win. I mean, it's impossible to win. I mean, how do you win? I mean, I don't
Contact Joe.
But my point is that, you know, one of the reasons why we did FEC, one of the reasons why we did UADF, and I'm segueing into that, is that we wanted to give people a voice. We wanted to use this power and numbers strategy to actually do good, right? We wanted to make it so that you had a difference, and that when we started actually being able to go into the communities, that we could affect what they do on education. We could affect what they do on the commerce side with these organizations that don't know how to take care of their these organizations don't know how to take care of the businesses in the community. On the church side, that we can actually stand up for churches, and on the UADF side, that if these Antifa or these fascists that like to call them anti-fascists, Antifa guys, if they come into the community, we can be a members in the community to protect the community, right?
Yep, know how to react and organize, and again, be a force to be reckoned with instead of an individual, because individually you can't do anything. That's why all these states, these governors, these mayors, even the police force are allowed to do what they're doing, because we're doing it as individuals and not as a tribe.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. So we're coming towards the end of the show. I want to talk about a couple things that I find very interesting. I'm a geek. I like to read the actual medical studies that come out, because I don't like to just take the summary that the media gives us. So, Mr. Producer, go ahead and put up my screen. So this is an older study that was actually not that old. It was released in August of this year. A randomized trial of hydroxychloroquine as post-exposure prophylaxis for COVID-19. The study found that hydroxychloroquine had no effect in whether or not someone could avoid getting the novel coronavirus. And as I'm reading, I found something very interesting. I scroll down to it. I highlighted it, so it should come up right here. The primary outcome was pre-specified as symptomatic illness confirmed by a positive molecular assay, or if testing is unavailable, COVID-19 related symptoms. We assumed that healthcare workers would have access to COVID-19 testing if symptomatic. However, access to testing was limited throughout the trial period. So right there, they admit to not actually testing all of their study participants. And what does that mean? That means that of the group, so they had 414 people taking hydroxychloroquine as a prophylaxis, 407 were on the placebo. They showed that 49 people had confirmed or probable COVID-19 on hydroxychloroquine. 58% were confirmed or probable on the placebo. But if you look, barely anyone actually got a test. Of the 414 people on hydroxychloroquine, only 11 people got tested, and only 9 people got tested on the placebo. The rest was symptoms compatible with COVID-19, 48 versus 55. And you read here, symptoms were adjudicated by 4 infectious disease physicians who were unaware of the trial group assignments in accordance with the U.S. Council of State and Territorial Epidemiologists case definition of a probable COVID-19 case. So basically, instead of testing people to decide whether or not HCQ actually worked as a prophylactic, they just had a panel of 4 so-called experts look at the cases and decide whether or not they have coronavirus. So if you went in with a headache and a sore throat, if you had, let's say you had strep, and you had a sore throat and a fever, nope, those 2 COVID symptoms. That meant you were a probable COVID case, right? If you went and you had a headache and you lost your taste of sense or smell, well, let's just make sure we can fire all the ears, nose, and throat doctors. We don't need to know why people spontaneously lose their sense of taste or smell because it's all COVID. It's not science, people. So I wanted to bring that up because no one actually ever covers when you get into the nitty-gritty of it. But this study that came out in August that they're trying to say once and for all says that HCQ has no actual benefit as a prophylaxis. You get down into it, and they only actually gave 20 COVID tests to people. I mean,
that's science.
It's not science.
That's science. I don't know what you're talking about, man. That's science. Come on, that's science.
That is science.
Science. It's common.
It is science.
It works on aeronautics. Totally works.
Yeah, totally.
And the last bit of science before we end the show today, Miss Producer, go ahead and put up image 3. This is from, I believe this is from Washington Post. It's time to talk about how toilets may be spreading COVID-19. Respectfully, no, it's not. It is not time to start talking about how COVID could be spread through toilets. And basically what...
My military mind is spinning right now, but I'm not going to.
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, that's what they can't make you afraid because we now know that you don't need to be spraying everything with Lysol necessarily, right? You don't need to be stripping naked every time you come in from the grocery store. That's what people were doing early on.
I wasn't.
Stripping down. But people were afraid. There was a panic period where people were afraid that they had to take off their clothes when they're coming home from work, coming home from the grocery store, spraying all their packages down. We know we don't need to do that anymore. So to gin up the fear and the fear-mongering, they're coming out with this new thing that, you have to worry that COVID-19 might be in your toilets.
There's going to be a lot of unused public toilets.
Well, depending on the city, you're just allowed to go in the street.
What, Denver and San Francisco you can now?
No, all over. Look, San Francisco. I mean, you can't even.
You can't in the Springs. I don't think Springs you can.
Well, I mean, what? Maybe. I mean, I wouldn't go in the street, but
I wouldn't either.
Yeah, but I guess you could technically. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
it's really funny how 99.99% of the people out there that don't wear masks, they go and kiss babies, frogs, whatever they're doing, right? Having a good time, going about their life. They don't get sick, and when they do get sick, it's over.
Yeah, I mean,
it's really interesting, and that the basic, using just basic hygiene, washing your hands, not licking people, right? And that you can come into contact with. I mean, I've gotten it.
It hasn't stopped you from licking me. It's just weird.
I didn't lick you. You're a little salty today.
I feel the need to preemptively fact check and say that the CDC and the World Health Organization recommend against kissing frogs. Frogs can be a petri dish for bacteria and diseases. Do not kiss frogs. We do not advocate the kissing of frogs.
So can becoming a Democrat.
Well, there goes that cartoon from Disney.
Becoming a Democrat will
no
actually.
More Princess and the Frog.
Yeah.
What wasn't in the cartoon?
What is it?
The princess that kisses the frog.
What is that?
Princess and the Frog.
Princess and the Frog?
It's the Disney one. Yeah, it's the Down the Bayou. It's in New Orleans, right? Where she kisses the frog. Yeah. It's actually it's not that bad.
Danny says the plungers are PPE now, I reckon.
So if you post that, is it going to be fact checked by Instagram and Facebook?
What the kissing? Oh yeah, no. I don't know. I don't know if that's on the World Health Organization's agenda, because I don't think they think that can benefit China. They haven't found a way to benefit China with that little bit of information. We just want to preemptively fact check. No kissing frogs.
I'm just saying, because I got flagged for making a comment about worms being harassing and hateful, I think, or something like that.
Yeah.
Were you watching? Were you watching the movie Tremors at the time?
Yep, I don't know. I'm just like, you got to be kidding me. But of course, I had to post it.
Yeah. Well, they'll get you. And any final words, you two, as we wrap up the podcast?
Don't be a Democrat. If I had to give you any advice, it'd be don't be a Democrat, because otherwise you're going to end up in one of those 5 areas, right? I think everybody should run from the left. I mean, I think that there should be I think there is, but more of a mass exodus from getting away from this loony leftist agenda. It's crazy. It's crazy. And the fact that there's even Democrats out there that could even justify voting for Biden and Harris. And before we go, did you hear that Harris actually talked about her administration? Did you hear about this?
Yeah.
In
we posted it.
Oh my God.
Posted it on our Facebook page. Let me see if I can get it. Keep talking. I'll see if I can download it. She referred to it as the Harris administration.
The Harris administration.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, again, Biden. He's just going to be a puppet, man. That's all he is. He's just a puppet. I mean, the dude doesn't know where he is. He doesn't know what he's talking about. I mean, he's way worse than me, which is pretty bad.
I'm going to have to agree with that.
It's bad. So I mean, I get lost in my train of thought. Not even thinking, and
like right now.
Yeah, I mean, at least I know where I'm at all the time. You know?
Joe Biden didn't know where he was traveling to today.
You know, just like he was saying, just like he'll do whatever it takes to save Americans. Well, I guess unless they're not in Benghazi, he won't.
Oh, that hurt.
Oh, Mr. Producer, I'm sending this over to you. It's a video. If you can play it, I sent it over to you over Facebook. It just hit your inbox. So Kamala Harris was giving an interview, and she accidentally admitted that she would be calling the shots. She referred to the next administration as a Harris administration with Joe Biden as president. Mr. Producer, if you're ready to go, or if we need to vamp a little bit more.
Yeah, he said just vamp a little bit more.
Oh, vamp a little bit more. Okay. Did you see that?
I think everybody saw that coming anyways. Everybody knew that whoever the vice president is going to be, well, his running mate would end up actually running the country. Because, I mean, this dude, again, he gets lost. I mean, just under his covers. The dude is just senile.
Well, did you see yesterday that he gave a speech in front of an empty field and he got attacked by bugs?
Yeah, I saw that.
We could play all day just stuff about Biden. It'd be like a Saturday Night Live skit.
So I think somebody said, how's it feel to have somebody come up behind you and start kissing on you? It was some kind of meme like that with the bug coming up on him.
Yeah.
Okay, Josh said, Evan says it's ready. Let's play that first one.
A Harris administration together with Joe Biden.
Play it again. I didn't realize it was so small. It was so short when I played it, when I cut it.
A Harris administration together with Joe Biden. A Harris administration together with Joe Biden. A Harris administration together with Joe Biden.
I cut that, and I sent you one more video, Evan, before we wrap up for the day. Did you get that one? Last one. If you could upload. Joe Biden had a similar moment where he referred to it as the Harris-Biden administration, which is not what you're supposed to do. It's supposed to be the president first, and then it's supposed to be the vice president. Let's play that one too.
Harris-Biden administration is going to relaunch that effort and keep pushing further to make it easier for military spouses and veterans to find meaningful careers, to ensure teachers know how to support military children in their classrooms, and to improve support for caregivers and survivors.
So you can't blame him. He's like the anchor man. He reads what's ever on the teleprompter.
Yeah, 100%.
If it's on the teleprompter,
100%.
You can't put question marks. You can't put quotation.
Ron Burgundy.
Yep.
Burgundy will read whatever you put in that teleprompter.
That's what we should
We can't play
Biden.
that.
The
last time we played that clip, they took down our podcast for violating copyright, so we can't play that clip. But it really is a Ron Burgundy moment. It really, really is.
So they're really trying to stop that one, huh?
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
so I'll just tell you the last thing. So I actually went to Washington, got to meet with some Republicans and Democrats on both sides of the aisle, and I got to meet with some lobbyist groups as well. And they're all talking about FEC United, right? They're talking about what we're doing at FEC United, what we're doing at UADF. And they're like, yeah, we're hearing about all these meetings you're having. We have a meeting every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, pretty much every week, right?
Just say every day.
Pretty much. Yeah, okay. So we meet with people, but when we have these meetings, we put them out there. 300 to 500 people show up to each one. I don't think we've had any that have been less than 300, right? These are people from the community that are just pissed off. So I have to tell you that they're recognizing that in Washington that, hey, listen, this movement of making sure we can protect things in our community, it's really important to people in the community. And before they had no hope. They just stood up and I met with a doctor, trauma. We met with a trauma doctor yesterday.
Yep.
And he goes, look, I'm willing to help you however I need to help you. But we have people now, big groups of people that are in working in hospitals, working in government that said, look, I will give you all the intel, all of it. We have somebody in the Polis administration said, hey, listen, just as long as you don't tell my name, you can't tell anyone, I'll lose my job. It'll be suicide for me. I'll give you all the intel of what's going on in Polis's office. To have people actually come in and talk, to tell us that just shows you that they recognize that what's happening in our country is just off the rails. And so,
I mean, they're looking for leadership. They're looking for true leaders. They're tired of politicians. That's what I keep preaching, man. Stop voting in politicians. Actually look for leaders. Don't look for somebody who's just going to, kiss your baby and give them lollipops. Look for somebody who's actually going to teach your baby and how to make lollipops. Politicians, they will stoop to any level to get any vote. I mean, look how many times I'll even say, look how many times Joe Biden, I mean, he had the right to change your mind, but he only does it to get votes.
Right.
What's popular? Who's the most
sensible?
Who's most vocal is what they go after. And just because they're vocal doesn't mean it makes it the right thing. It's like the thing you keep telling a lie and a lie and a lie, next thing it becomes the truth. That's how the left they do everything. They just lie and lie until it becomes the truth. It's still not the truth. It's still a lie. But the vast, I can't even talk anymore. The vast majority, they just want true leadership. They're tired of being lied to. They're tired of being locked up. They're tired of being told to wear a mask.
And losing their retirements, losing everything that they have. I mean, the normal people in the community.
And they're being threatened. I mean, you got people getting smacked in the back of heads for walking down the street. You had the punch game that was going on for a while, which I'm pretty sure is coming back. It's the idiocracy that's going on in this country is rampant. And again, it started with the education system, it started with participation trophies, and it's just getting worse. The lack of discipline on your kids. You have to sit them in a chair. You can't spank your kid. Really? Look where we're at for not spanking your kid. I mean, this country was. I mean, I don't believe in beating your kids, but capital punishment on a kid is not a bad thing. I mean, our country started. Look how we went. Look how we progressed, and look how we're degressing. We are going backwards.
I got beat as a child.
Not enough.
It's kind of a lot of beating. I think my parents would tell you that I had more than my share of beatings. I just didn't learn my lesson.
And now we're going back to where the community's not really raising kids. It's really not even parents are raising kids. It's schools that are raising kids. It's the streets that are raising kids.
100%.
We got to get back to our foundation.
So I think that's a good place to great final thoughts. Before we end, I want to remind everyone again, Mr. Producer, if you can go to my screen, that on Thursday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern, we're talking with Andrew Wakefield. He is the man who was one of the authors of the Lancet article suggesting a link between the MMR vaccine and autism. We're going to be talking about his upcoming book, his research, and vaccine development as a whole, especially in the context of COVID-19. That's going to be live on Facebook and YouTube on Thursday, 10:30 a.m. Eastern. It's going to be earlier than our normal time, and we'll have the audio podcast available immediately after. So make sure you mark your calendar and tune in. It should be a really good episode. Well, thank you, Tig, for sitting in today.
Yeah, thanks for torturing me. I appreciate it.
No, we're not ready to. No,
I'm not ready yet. What are you doing? Come on, man.
I got to do the spinal spiel. That's what happens when you have fill-ins. So that's going to be it for this edition of the podcast. Remember that if you like the podcast and you can't always watch it live, you can get the audio version. You can subscribe to the audio version on Apple Podcasts, Google Play Store, Spotify, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and Podbean. All links in the video description. If you're listening on audio, we go live on Facebook and YouTube every Monday through Friday, unless there's a special event like what I just talked about, 2 p.m. Eastern. We also have a link for you to join our email newsletter, to make sure that you like and follow our Facebook page. Make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. We're also on Parler. Follow us at Conservative Daily. We'll be happy to follow you back. So again, my name is Max McGuire.
And this is Joe Otto.
And Tig.
And Tig. Remember, everyone, that the fight to take back our country clearly isn't over, but the only way we win is if we all stand and fight together.